So this is such a stupid idea, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna fly this in the rain. So I have had the Fimi X8 SE 2020 drone for the past month or so, and I feel like I've given it a pretty damn good testing. Now, I'm actually quite impressed with this thing, but is it good enough to get over the DJI models? Let's get into this. What's going on, my friends? It's Jason here, all the way down under. Now, I hope you're all doing fantastic wherever you may be. Drop a comment where you actually are from. Really like to know. But anyway, DJI might actually be in trouble. Big trouble, maybe, I don't know. Xiaomi have done it again. They've brought out a newer drone. Now this is the X8 SE 2020. Now they previously, I think, had the X8 SE. This is apparently an upgraded version. And this currently sells for around $555 US. Now that is crazy, crazy cheap. It is very similar to the DJI Mavic Mini, and it's cheaper than the older Mavic Air. Now, if I actually wanted to compare this to any DJI drone, I'd probably put this up against the Mavic Air because it has very similar specs. So the X8 SE 2020 is capable of recording up to 4K 30 at 100 megabits per second. It is rated to have 35 minutes of flight time. Now that is quite some time. Now it has HDR photo and also HDR in video. And it also has a rain-proof design, which they actually claim. It's got a rain-proof design. I personally haven't tested it, and we're pretty much waiting. Wait, is it raining today? Maybe I should test it today. So this is such a stupid idea, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna fly this in the rain, and it says it's rain-proof, so we gotta test it, right? Let's get it. Well, it held up. It's actually waterproof, well, to an extent, but it flew and it's perfectly fine. So I probably wouldn't take this in too much of rainy conditions, and I probably wouldn't recommend it anyway, but yeah, it worked. But anyway, let's move on to the next. It has smart tracking and smart flight modes, has 8-kilometer range. It has also F-Log, which is their flat picture profile, which I always use. But I'm gonna rattle off 3 pros and 3 cons about this bad boy right here. Now, one of the biggest things that stands out for me when it comes to comparing this to the Mavic Air is the range. Now, this is the biggest pro right now. The transmission is much clearer when it comes to the Fimi. Now, when I actually was flying the Mavic Air, so I've still got the Mavic Air, it's so frustrating because it drops out and you can't even get like a couple of 100 meters in my area. It's just ridiculous, whereas this is so much better. I mean, I haven't tested the 8-kilometer maximum. I don't think, has anyone tested it? They always rate it up super high. I think the Mavic Air 2 does like 10 kilometers or something. Who's gonna fly 10 kilometers? Let's get back to it. So the next great thing about the Fimi is, like I said, the price. It comes in at $555 US. Now that is stupidly cheap for what it actually does. It's so much cheaper than the Mavic Air, and it's almost the same price as the Mavic Mini. And for a budget drone, it certainly does hold its own. Now, the third pro of this drone would actually have to be the remote control design. Now, it's a personal preference for some, but it is much more comfortable and better thought out. With the DJI designs, if you start putting your phone in there and you have a really thick case, it becomes extremely difficult. Whereas this one, if you have a thick case, it's perfectly fine. You can actually use a iPad or iPad mini on there as well. I mean, I personally don't have an iPad. I'm an Android person, but if you did, I mean, you could probably still use it. It's quite nice. Now, okay. One of the cons. Let's get into the cons. Everyone likes to hear about the cons because why else would you want to watch the video? You want to see an honest review. This is an honest review right here. Now, one of the major cons is actually trying to get this sucker up into the air. I don't know if I'm doing anything wrong, but there is a little switch on the side. You can put Wi-Fi or radio, and I've got it on radio. It's definitely on radio. I still don't know if this is user error, but I've gone through the whole settings and everything seems to be perfectly fine, but it's extremely difficult to take off sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't allow you to actually fly because it doesn't have enough satellites.
So this is not good. I don't know if this is normal.
So it's got satellites, but it won't let you take off.
It randomly pops up and pops out. Bad. Bad Fimi, bad.
I was there with Andrew Murphy down the Gold Coast, and we wanted to shoot some stuff side by side with the Mavic Mini, and he could get his up in the air fine, but I couldn't. It was so frustrating. Even with my shoot when I had the HSV R8 with cinematic video of that, same thing. I had to walk around for ages trying to find satellites and for it to actually pop up where I could actually start flying. The auto flight signal just would not pop up, or it'd pop up and then disappear straight away. It's like, oh, god damn it. So I actually flew it from my hand. It worked. It worked one time. It popped up quickly, flicked it up, said fly, and it started flying out of my hand. So yeah. Other than that, I don't know if it was the areas that I was in, but both the areas were actually quite free of interference. Well, I think they were free of interference, but I don't know. I was just not happy, and it is a con. It's a real con. Now, the second con is probably actually the Gimbal Protector. Check this out. What? Look at that. That is the Gimbal Protector. It's a foam case. It's literally a piece of foam. Surely it doesn't cost that much to produce a small piece of plastic like DJI do. I don't know. It baffles me. I mean, yes, it is a budget drone. They're trying to keep the price down, but a foam gimbal protector? Come on, really? It's probably one of the most important parts of the drone is the gimbal. It's the most fragile part, so give us a better gimbal protector than that. I don't know. Now the third con is the sensors. Now it doesn't actually have any sensors. You've got this bad boy right on the front, which looks sweet, but it's not a sensor. These things right here, it's nothing. It's just for show. Now, yes, like I said, I know they need to cut down on costs, and the sensors, I would imagine, be quite expensive, so they did actually do that. So it doesn't have obstacle avoidance, but in all honesty, that's not a deal breaker for me. I don't actually need the sensors, and a lot of time I turn them off because I'm actually being risky and want to fly through a whole bunch of things, especially if you are like Andrew Murphy and he decides to fly through objects backwards. He's incredible. He's also partly insane when it comes to flying through gaps. Like, check this out. So the image quality that pops out of this is actually quite decent. I mean, it does look a little bit over sharpened when it comes to the image, and I did have to decrease the sharpness in post to match it to my A7S III footage, but it still worked out quite well. But like I said, you're paying for a budget drone, you're gonna get some relatively budget image quality, but 4K 30 or 4K 25 still looks quite decent. I do actually like it. Because it's a cheaper drone, you don't expect it to be insane image quality like the Mavic Pro 2, but you know, it's pretty decent and it looks very similar, I guess, to the Mavic Mini or the Mavic Air. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button, that would be absolutely amazing. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to see more of these videos. My name's Jason, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Let's get it.